John Gill's exposition of the entire Bible verse by verse. Revelation chapter 9, verse 3. Scripture, quote, "And there came out of the smoke locusts, the earth." Quote, John Gill, quote, "Not literally, for these locusts might not meddle with the grass or any green thing or tree as locusts do, only men." Revelation chapter 9, verse 4. "And had a king over them." Revelation chapter 9, verse 11. "Which locusts have not." Proverbs chapter 30, verse 27. Though the allusion is to such, which spawn and breed in pits, and may be properly said to come out of them, hence, in the Hebrew tongue, they are called a pit or ditch, nor are devils intended, though they may be compared to locusts for their original, hell, or the bottomless pit, and for their numbers. We read of a legion of them in one man, and for their hurtful and mischievous nature. Nor are the Goths and Vandals designed. These, though they harassed some parts of the Eastern Empire, yet chiefly the Western. Besides, they appeared under the former trumpets. But these are to be understood of the Western and Eastern locusts, especially the latter. The Western locusts are the clergy of the Church of Rome, cardinals, bishops, priests, monks, and friars of every order. They are not instituted by Christ, but rose out of the bottomless pit, for the anti-Christian smoke of councils, decrees, and traditions, and are fitly compared to locusts for their number, which have been almost as the sand of the sea, innumerable, and have spread themselves all over the nations of the earth, that have gone by the name of Christendom, for their devouring nature, living in plenty and idleness, upon the fat of the land, in the best commons, gluttoning themselves with the spoils of others, devouring widows' houses, and impoverishing countries and kingdoms wherever they come. The eastern locusts are the Saracens, Saracens, and who are chiefly designed, and who were to harass and distress the Eastern Empire and prepare it for its ruin, which is brought on under the next trumpet by the Turks. These are fitly signified by locusts, because the locusts generally come out of the eastern part. It was an east wind which brought the plague of locusts into Egypt, Exodus 10, verse 13. And the children of the east, the Arabians, are compared to grasshoppers or locusts in Judges 7:12. Reading from the King James Version. "And the Midianites and Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers for multitude, and their camels were without number, as the sand by the sea side for multitude." And one of the names of the locust, Arbeh, not much unlike in sound to an Arab, to which may be added that it is a tradition of the Arabians that they fell locusts in the hands of Muhammad, on whose backs and wings were written these words, quote, "We are the army of the Most High. We are the 99 eggs, and if the 100 should be made perfect, we should consume the whole world and whatsoever is in it," unquote. Footnote from the reader. Everything we had from Muhammad was not written by Muhammad. He left nothing. These were written by people after his death, and they came up with it by however. So it's not firsthand. It's secondhand at best, fictitious at worst. End of footnote. "And it was a law established by Muhammad. Yet ye shall not kill the locusts, for they are the army of the Most High God. And the Mohammedans fancy that the locusts were made of the same clay as Adam was. And besides the tradition before mentioned, they say that as Muhammad sat at a table, a locust fell, with these words on its back and wings, quote, 'I am God, neither is there any Lord of the locusts besides me, who feed them. And when I please, I send them to be food to the people. And when I please, I send them to be scourged upon them,' unquote." Footnote from the reader. There is no way That kind of print could be on the locust's back and wings, able to be read. That's a lot of print in Arabic or Persian, and there's no way you could have read that, especially at his age. There's no way. This is a story. End of footnote. Hence, his Saracens, Saracens, may well go by this name. Now these Saracens sprung up in the times of the anti-Christian darkness, both papal and Mohammedan, and may be said to come out of the smoke of the bottomless pit. And the religion of Muhammad, which they embraced, was no other. And like locusts, they were innumerable. They went in troops and bands, as locusts do. Proverbs 30, verse 27. Pillaging and ravaging all they could, and their sudden and frequent incursions, the desolations and ravages which they made in the Eastern Empire, are very aptly expressed by the running to and fro of locusts. See Isaiah chapter 33, verse 4. Unquote. Scripture quote, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. Unquote. John Gill quote, that is to torment them by striking them with their stings in their tails. Revelation chapter 9, verse 5. These are called scorpions of the earth, to distinguish them from sea scorpions, which are a kind of fish. So Aristotle and Pliny speak of terrestrial scorpions, which are the most hurtful. These are the serpentine kind, have an innocent, harmful look, but they are soon angry, have stings in their tails, which they are always striking with. They may miss no opportunity of doing any mischief, with which they strike in an oblique way, and which very fitly describes the Saracens, the race of the Ishmaelites, a generation of vipers, a subtle and treacherous sort of people, very furious and wrathful, and who lived by continual robbing and plundering of others at an unawares. And this may be applied to the western locusts, the monks and the friars, who are the seed of the serpent, and who by good works and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple, have a form of godliness, and speak lies and hypocrisy, and lie in wait to deceive, and being provoked are full of wrath and anger, and strike very hard with their anthems and excommunications and other sorts of punishments which they have power to inflict. Unquote. Footnote of the reader. He just described the Catholic leaders from the 13, 14, 15, 16, and 1700s was what he was doing. From everything I have read of the history and the people that were being put to death, who were trying to bring the scriptures out in the common languages, Protestants and things like that, this is exactly what was going on. End of the footnote. End of Revelation chapter 9, verse 3.